Alright, I'm going to try to make a pine resin candle. So there's some pine resin. I'm going to try to burn out a little dish inside this piece of wood here with this coal. I'm boiling sap, so I got all the time in the world. See how it goes. It's getting there. It's just been a few minutes. I'm already got, I don't know, about 1/8 of an inch in there. So and that's maple too, so that's pretty cool. Alright, I'll let you see what it's done. Alright, it's been about, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes, and I got a good 1/2 inch deep cup there, maybe a little more than that. I'll scoop that out with a knife. So I'll go ahead and scoop that out with a knife. Surprising how fast that went. I don't know if you can see that or not, but more than a 1/2 inch deep. I'll go ahead and put that pine tar in there, and we'll go from there. Alright, so I tried burning the pine sap by itself, and it didn't burn, so I took some fabric off of my hat. If you've watched any of my videos, you know I have strings hanging off the front of my hat. So some cotton, most likely, and I made a little wick in there, and we'll see if this thing will work like a candle or not. Well, I say it does. So I'll check and see. It is now 5:56, and we'll see how long that little bit of pine tar burns for. And that's a little candle, so far anyway. Let's see. Well, it's 6:01. That's 5 minutes, and it's still burning. I put it up on a rock, put a little windbreak on there to help it burns more slowly. It's not bad. So it's now something like 6:09, so about 15 minutes. I just added a little more sap, actually a little more than I should have. I should probably only add enough to keep that bowl full every 5 or 10 minutes, because it's got a lot more sap there than it needs. But it's still going. It's a nice little torch. It's funny, but probably this has been done by our ancestors 100,000 times, but just experimenting. I put a pine cone in there to see if it would sustain the burn longer. Just added a little bit more pine sap. thinking what it'll do is just give me more light. It'll give me a little higher flame. So it's now 6:19, so 25 minutes, darn near 25 minutes. Alright, so it's 6:28, so I think that's over half an hour, and it's still burning. Took the pine cone out, it kind of fell out. I keep feeding about, I don't know, cubic centimeter of sap in, maybe a little less than that, every 5-10 minutes, and it is still burning, so they'd give you a little bit of light. I'm quite impressed with it, actually, considering how simple it is. If you've ever been in the dark alone, just a little light like that can really change your spirits. So I'm quite impressed with how it's doing. It seems to be burning slower now that it's burned itself in a little bit, so we'll see what happens. I still have a little bit left. Probably had, I don't know, maybe an inch by an inch. I don't know, maybe an eighth of a cup, maybe less than that, of pine sap to begin with. So, and I'm well over half an hour now, so it's pretty cool. Time to give it a little bit more. Throw that in there like that. Actually, I should have heated the knife up a little bit first, but just roll it in that cup. And you get another 5-10 minutes. It's 6:48. We're coming up upon an hour. I still have one more refill from that little bit of sap that I had. It's still going. So I don't think it would be the best idea if you wanted to have a light all night long, but we got an hour and nothing but sap. Pine sap. And it's now 6:56. That's 1 hour. And that little lot of sap that I gathered, pine sap, and I'd say that candle, you're sitting in the dark alone, an hour of light, even a little light. If you've been there, you know what I'm talking about. Very, very cool. Alright, I love learning new things. So here we are at over an hour and 5 minutes, 7:01, and I scraped out all the residue from the burning pine tar, and now the block of wood is sitting there burning. So I'm not sure, we'll see how long this lasts. It's a delicate fire. If there's any wind, it's going to go out, so you'd want it contained. But what I'm wondering is if the pine tar had actually soaked into the dry maple, and now I'm going to sit here with a wick running with the pine sap that is infused in the fibers of the maple. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens. But it was 7:01 when I started taping this segment. It's more than an hour, and it seems to be burning on its own right now. There's no more sap in the reservoir. Very interesting. Alright, as the fire was going on, I noticed that on the back side, which it used to be the bottom, there was a lot of pine tar that had soaked through. I don't think that it dripped down, I'm not sure. So I turned the thing on the side, And again, if the fibers are infused in pine sap from melting, then I would imagine that'll burn for a while. So I'm not sure what time it is. Let me check. 7:17. So 5:56. Hour and 20 minutes so far. One little piece of wood. And it's still giving off light. So I'm not sure where this will end, but it certainly was still going. See how thick I cut the wood to begin with. I would say 3/4 of an inch, short of an inch, and it was a dry piece of maple. So I don't mean for this video to be long, but I don't know where it's going to end. You see I wrapped a piece of bark around it to keep the wind from blowing it out. Still sitting on the rock, still giving off light. Alright, so here's an interesting thing. So the center finally burnt through, and I'm now getting a roaring flame out of this little disc of wood. It seems to be catching the wind, although there's not a whole lot of breeze right now, through that depression. As long as the depression burns through, I think with all the infused pine sap, we now have a self-perpetuating candle with the wind blowing through the center like that. So this is extremely interesting. So it's 7:35. It's over an hour and a half. Every once in a while it goes out, but you just blow on it and it starts up. So if it goes out again, I'll tape that. Hour and a half. Less than an inch of wood. So it's gone out. I'm going to blow on it and hopefully it'll reignite. Pretty darn cool. It certainly gives you something to do while you're sitting there in the dark, waiting for the night to pass. Sometimes just having something to focus on is all it takes to get through the evening, get through the night. Just the task at hand. That's like an hour and a half so far. We are exactly 2 hours after starting. I bet you I can still get some light out of this. Still have light. Not a lot of light, not a lot left. There's still light. 2 hours in the dark, interrupted by less than 1 inch of wood. Definitely a cool experiment.